You're listening to Where Before Meets After.
Welcome back to Where Before Meets After. I'm Eva Shea. My guest here at the Aesthetic Meet Live in Austin, Texas is Kim Laudati. She's the founder of a very innovative new company called SomaCell, and I'm excited to hear more about that. Hi, Kim.
Hi, thank you for having me on the show.
Sure. Tell me more about what you're doing.
Hey, SomaCell is the U.S. first-time entry into medical facial aesthetics where we have a skin tightening device that is not using heat to wound your skin. So just to clarify that in a layman's terms, everything that we have for facial skin tightening right now uses heat to cause a wound and therefore create the wound healing response to accelerate skin tightening.
I hear all of those are painful too.
Absolutely. So some can be just mildly uncomfortable all the way up to wildly painful, depending on which it is.
Yeah. Usually we hear about wildly painful.
Exactly. And then there's a lot of restrictions that come with heat-based devices, like lasers. You can't be out in the sun pre and post treatment, and you have to change your lifestyle. Depending on how aggressive the laser is, you're going to have downtime. Ultrasounds or HIFU, it's the same term, or I should say it's the same thing with two different terminologies. So ultrasound, HIFU, same thing. Again, you could have bruising. It could be wildly painful. That's the one that patients will cling to the sides of the bed when they're on painkillers.
Really?
And yes, so just to get skin tightening, a lot of patients are like, no, this is too much. And then radiofrequency with muscle stim, radiofrequency with microneedling combinations, they're all heat-based devices. So your higher Fitzpatrick, which means your higher ethnicities, like the darkest skin types, and even the medium to dark skin types, they're contraindicated or have high risk to do those treatments. So there's a lot of issues, like I said, between pain, lifestyle changes, downtime, or you can't do it at all. And SomaCell has none of those concerns.
So it is a device?
Yes.
And so what is the technology behind it?
Great question. It's acoustic wave therapy. And it, like I said, it's the first time in medical facial aesthetics in the U.S. that acoustic wave therapy is being used for facial skin tightening.
How did you even fall into this?
It's a funny story that I was hired by a New York City, where we're based, a New York City College of Health Sciences, to create and then conduct for their first year a medical aesthetic training program for other doctors and nurses. So that was heavily based in laser training. However, I was looking all around the world, doing Google searches, talking to colleagues, what's happening outside of the US, and I stumbled across this in Europe. And I couldn't understand why it hadn't been used here. But the reason is because worldwide, there was only really one facial protocol by the global leading manufacturer. And I hooked up with them. I received a treatment. It was not any better than anything we have in the US already. So I almost walked away from the project. But instead, something nagged at me. I jumped in, did a deep dive on the research, and spent a year in hardcore R&D to come up with my majorly wildly advanced protocol. And even the manufacturer is like, this is light years ahead of anything our R&D department since 1985 has ever come up with.
Did you have an R&D background somewhere or a science background?
No, I'm aging with every day that goes by. I'm Korean and Italian. I have very sensitive skin, and I want to try to find something. That was my point. I wanted to find something that could work selfishly on me, which means it could work on so many other patients if I could actually crack a code and find something that would work without heat. So we wouldn't have to change our lifestyles or deal with scary phases of recovery for a number of days, or say, this is amazing treatment, but I'm sorry, you can't do it because of your ethnicity. I wanted to eliminate all those problems. And then as a provider, I know it's hard for me to have devices that might work okay, not tremendously well, but they work okay, but they have a very high disposable per patient cost. Maybe it's the tip or whatever piece it is that you have to keep replacing. You can never get ahead on the ROI. And with every year that goes by, the cost of the supplies goes up, but you can't really keep raising the cost of that treatment. So you're like, oh my goodness, between the device payoff and the disposable, when am I making money?
So the SomaCell, it doesn't have a consumable.
It has almost a non-existent consumable. So a very busy practice would not even be replacing parts until the end of the year. And those parts quite often are under $1,000. So very easy to keep money in your pocket. The buy-in price is also under $75,000 with the trade show special. The buy-in price for the portable device is $56,000. The standard device is $60,000. So to finance, you're usually under $600 a month. You're about $425 a month on that.
Yeah.
So it gives the practitioner every opportunity to make money and actually keep it.
It's, I think, surprising to hear, and tell me if I'm right or wrong here, when someone who does this work, like a laser specialist, an esthetician, actually can sell the treatment, they can pay off that device very, very fast.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
And we have something that we didn't even plan on. We're trending right now with natural beauty because natural beauty is such a huge thing. And we're not fighting the body with SomaCell. We're working with your body gently to get a really rapid visual response, literally from week by week. As you go through your series, you can see your visual changes. Then that cellular response becomes cumulative. So over the next many months, 6, 12, 18 months later, you're still seeing benefit without having all of the issues and the cost to have to keep, as a patient, keep coming back and coming back and coming back. Maintenance is low, once a quarter, or you could do more often if you wanted to, or you could do bi-quarterly if you wanted to. It's very individual at that point.
So is it a series of treatments or is it a one-time or can it be both?
It can be both. So for patients that are flying in, for example, they will reap the benefit from a singular or just 2 treatments. But the actual initial series is 6. If you're local, we do prefer to do once per week. But if anyone has time constraints, whether they're flying in or whether they're local, but they just want to get done faster, the one expectation I manage is to let you know your cumulative benefit and your end result is going to be the same no matter what. But when we push the body a little bit faster, your wow factor from week to week, you don't see that. It might take 2 or 3 weeks before you really start to see that, oh my goodness, look at my skin, look at my face, look at my jawline, everything is tighter. The response comes through very quickly on week to week. But again, when you're cumulative, give your body a chance, 14 days, 3 weeks. And then we always get the phone call without prompting. I see it now. And we're like, yes.
Well, we didn't get the wrinkles overnight.
Right, exactly. So like I said, it's exciting. I still get excited. I'm almost 4 years into the project from start to today. And when patients come out of the treatment room, as an energy-based device provider, I'm used to telling you, oh, if I laser your face, it's going to be about 3 months before we see the full effect. We're probably going to do 2, 1 month apart, et cetera, et cetera. Or with radiofrequency and ultrasound, that also takes 2 to 3 months for that collagenesis to happen. But I wait at the reception once, or my estheticians wait, or my doctors wait at reception, whoever's providing the treatment. And it never fails, literally never fails. The patient comes up the hallway and is raving. And they're telling you, did you see my skin? This is amazing. And we get so excited. We're still like little kids in a candy shop, even though that's the response we're expecting. But to hear it every single time, we're still like, yay.
And if you didn't, then what would you do?
I would have gone back to the drawing board.
Take them back. Yeah.
Right? No, I would have gone back to the drawing board. So first year was hardcore R&D to nail my protocol. And then I applied for the U.S. trademark and spent the entire second year treating patients under NDA to make sure that this long list of promises we're making with no pain, no downtime, all adult ages, all ethnicities, no sun withdrawal. We can work over short facial hair, which none of the other devices can do. I wanted to make sure we were giving you all of that. So that was all of year 2. So now this past year, year 3 was prepping. I built out a new brick and mortar on 57th in Manhattan, hired a PR agency after vetting them, new websites, and this is our first trade show.
And how's it going?
It was great. We've had a great turnout so far, a lot of interest from the plastic surgeons. We have a lot of lead captures that we have. So my sales person in New York, which she knew she was getting that funnel as opposed to some of our other sales force. So she's very excited. We're all excited. We're like a pile of little kids.
So is New York the only place you can get this right now?
Currently, yes.
Yeah.
But I have my CMO is a plastic surgeon in Center City, Philadelphia. So I believe within the next 2 months, because he also has been traveling for work and some other work-related projects of his. So I believe within the next 2 months, he'll be a provider in Center City, Philly. He's already well trained. He's been on this project with me for 2 of the last 3 years. We have other doctors currently in Florida and California just before this show that we started talking to, placing a device with.
So you're looking for plastic surgeons or any specialty, people who work in aesthetics?
Excellent question. Yes. So the portable device, which does the entire SomaCell protocol for face and also for body, for skin tightening, but obviously you want it for the face first and foremost, is a class 1 device. Estheticians can use it, also, of course, medical staff. The standard device, which is a little bit bigger than the portable, is technically a class 2 device. So that would be like licensed medical practitioners, so MAs, nurses, but you can still hand it to staff because under a doctor's orders and most states that I know of, an MA would be able to do this treatment.
I still am really curious about what you were doing before this amazing project came your way. So give us a little bit of who you are.
I came into medical aesthetics in 2007. It was second career for me. And my first career was in horse racing. My home base was in New Jersey, New York, Monmouth Park Racetrack, and the country's premier track at Belmont Park. And it was to the horror of my parents after high school. I was like, I'm not going to go to college. I'm just going to work at the track because I was born like horse mad. So I had my working papers when I was 16 as a sophomore in high school, and I worked 2 summers at the racetrack. So that's why I told my parents, I'm just going to take a year before I go to college. You know, my mother's Korean, so I was, of course, expected to be in the medical profession. So I was like, don't worry, don't worry. And then 30 plus years later, I was still in horse racing, but I was getting ready to get out at that point. And at that point, honestly, I have no great math skill. I didn't do preliminary college of any sort. I would have had to start from scratch, which meant I would have needed a full-time math tutor and started year 1 and then trying to be competitive to even get into a medical program after I did my base 2 years first. And then I was like, how old am I going to be when I graduate? That's when I was thinking, let me look around. Do I want to become a nurse? What's the fast track? I'm really ready to get out. How can I get into aesthetics, which was very close to my heart because of my own skin experience? Going into medical aesthetics as an esthetician and continuing my education for the rest of my career, which I've done, was what resonated with me the most. And that's how I got here.
Did anything translate over? I'm just surmising here that working in horse racing required discipline and commitment.
Absolutely.
And so
7
did
days a
that
week.
sort of like fortitude carry over to your willingness to take this project on and not give up until it was figured out?
You know what? You have such an excellent point that a lot of people miss because that discipline and control, that work ethic that gets driven into you when you're working 365 days a year, because, you know, horses can't take care of themselves. So there's no Christmas, there's no holidays, there's barely a day off, and we're happy about it. So to jump into an entrepreneurial startup project like this one has given me gray hair. I'm not going to lie about that. I've had stress hair fall out, so I'm not going to lie about that also. But I had my heels dug in and the bit between my teeth, and I was not going to give up. There was something scratching at the back of my brain in the beginning when I discovered this technology, like, don't let this go. I've poured everything into it, and I'm just really happy that I have. But like you said, you learn that grit and that toughness that you need mentally to get through a startup.
You won the race.
In horse
you're
racing.
winning the race. You're about to.
Thank you.
Did your mom, was she around to see you make it into the medical field?
No.
Oh.
At the very beginning, but that was it. But I was the youngest of 5. So there was a good spacing between all of us. My mother was already 40 by the time she had me. So she got to see the beginning of it. And that was when she finally stopped telling her friends in front of me that I wish she would get a real job. And I spent my whole horse racing career for 30 plus years telling her there's nothing more real than never getting a day off. We get to the barn at 5 a.m. There's nothing more real than that. So, but it was amazing because in horse racing, technically I don't have any regrets looking back. Of course, now I wish I was a surgeon or a dermatologist or something, right? But in horse racing, especially at that level that I was privileged to work at, we did a lot of testing for human products in the beginning. Down at Palm Meadows in Florida, in the West Palm Beach area, there were hyperbaric chambers that we were using for the racehorses and sending those studies back to translate it to move into human studies. Same with radiofrequency. I've known shockwave for at least the last 12 years. When Zimmer came out and when BCL came out with their shockwave devices, everybody's like, oh my goodness. And I'm like, yeah, it's shockwave. We all know about this, don't we? The same thing with radiofrequency. We used radiofrequency with racehorses and EMTT. So all of these techs, to me, the only switch I had to change was the parameters. So
this
now
might be the most unusual crossover I have ever heard of.
But it's funny, right? It really was a crossover because all you have to do in your mind is change your frequencies, change your power levels, and you're like, oh, I know how to do this. So it was really super cool to make that connection.
What a neat story.
Thanks.
I am so glad you came to share it with us. I had a feeling it was going to be good. But the horse part, that I was not expecting.
Thank you. Well, you know what? There was good and bad with that, though, because when you're on a grind like that and you're young and you're headstrong and you're not listening to your mother who really did know best. I was more soda than water back then. Like everything that I stand against now. High sugar, you're on the run all the time with work. So it's fried food and it's fast food. Everything just like not healthy. So of course I had cystic acne. Of course I ended up with full face, low grade rosacea. And it wasn't bad enough technically to be teased, but compared to even now, like my skin was really bad. What turned it around for me was I was about 24 years old and a friend of mine, because I was working with dermatologists and not really getting anywhere for about 3 years. And a friend of mine said, go to see my esthetician. And that person said, stop scrubbing, stop doing chemical peels, stop your diet, back off on the sugar, back off on the salt, drink more water. And a year later, I went through my menstrual cycle and realized afterwards that I had only gotten one pimple. And
the whole year?
I never forgot how great that felt. And I was like, when I'm ready to leave horse racing, I'm going to figure out how to get into aesthetics. And that was it. That's the whole story.
Well, she changed your life so you could
Yes.
turn around later and do this and change other people's lives.
Well, that's why I think SomaCell is so exciting also, besides the fact that it gives real results without all the pain and the downtime, et cetera, et cetera. It is a way to pay it forward because we're giving back to the patient. I had a patient from the first year. She wasn't in the control group at that point. It was like my first pile of actual real patients that were still under NDA. But again, I thought I nailed my protocol, and it did turn out to be the protocol we're using right now. So about a month after her 6th treatment, I had been asking patients to come back for informal video testimonials. And she sat in the chair and I said, please introduce yourself. And then I had told her ahead of time, don't tell me the answer, but my first question after you introduce yourself is going to be, how do you feel about your results? And I asked her, and she looked me dead in the eye without blinking and welled up in tears and said, you gave me my face back that I remember from years ago. So of course, everyone cried. And it's just like, that's the kind of response we get all the time. And it's just amazing to be able to give that back.
That's a wonderful story. Okay, so right now we can only come to New York and get it.
New York and
But
Philadelphia shortly.
Philly.
Yes. And then I believe SomaCell belongs in every medical aesthetic office in the country.
I'm probably going to agree with you. Where can we find more information about SomaCell? And is there anywhere we can follow you on social media?
Yes. Thank you so much. All the social media is at SomaCell Skin. So SomaCellSkin. And the website is your typical www.somacellskin.com.
Perfect. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure to be here and such an honor to be on your show. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Eva Shea. Follow the show and submit questions for our experts at wherebeforemeetsafter.com. Where Before Meets After is a production of The Axis.